Hello, and welcome to episode 3 of Art, Animals, and Spirit. This episode is called Mystery of the Zebra Moth. Hi, I'm Shelley Devine. I am a psychic medium, Reiki master, professional artist, and a #1 best-selling author. The following story is true, and it's filled with nature, discovery, and a newfound awareness that I had as a child. I was planning on writing a book, and I was going to call it Truth. And then I came up with, let's call it Things I Want My Son to Know, and Some I Don't. But I realized it wouldn't be the most honest account of my life. There had been a lot of pain and tragedy in my life. And as a mother, I have an incessant need to shield him from some of the bad stuff. Well, the really bad stuff. So instead, I will tell you my truth, no matter how hard it may be. I feel it's the best way to release pain and emotions and emotions that do me no good to hold on to. Perhaps this would help you guys out there if you did the same, just speaking your truth. Okay, here we go. Here's the story. My life was also filled with laughter and love, and some very interesting things. My mother loved me. The things she did or didn't do in my childhood are what they are. She was who she was. I wish she could have been a better mother, but honestly, I feel she did the very best that she could. She was a single mother of 3 girls, on her own, trying to provide for us as best she could. She worked hard, and she struggled with anger, alcohol, and depression. I have raised my son on my own, and I know how hard that was. I worked full time. I didn't have much left at the end of the day for my son, but I really tried to make sure I was a better mother to him than my mother was to me. I didn't drink, smoke, or do drugs. I never abused or abandoned him. I love him with all my heart, and I made extra sure to let him know that he is loved. I know I have made some mistakes, but I believe that I was and still am a good mother. Like I said, my mother worked. Both my sisters were off doing their own thing. They were 5 and 6 years older than me. This meant that I spent a lot of time alone. I had a huge imagination and was able to entertain myself pretty well. But the loneliness and feelings of abandonment cut deep into me. There were times I was left alone in not so safe conditions at night. I used to sneak into my mother's bed in the middle of the night because I was so afraid she would disappear. She would get so mad at me for sneaking into her bed, but for some reason, I just couldn't stop. I believe I was around 9 or 10 years old. I got pretty good at being stealthy about it, though. I would sneak into her bed so very, very slowly so I wouldn't wake her up. I practically vampired my way under the covers and held super still so I could stay there all night. Among the things I did to entertain myself were climbing the big tree in the front yard, and imagine it was a flying machine. I would steer the branches and fly all over the neighborhood. I was free and in control. This is when I lived in Anaheim, California. It's funny, some things that I remember from my childhood stick with me forever. Like our phone number. I still remember my first phone number. That's hilarious. It was the very first phone number, which is probably why it's really stuck in there and embedded in my brain. But I had a pure love of animals ever since I could remember. I kept a little quote unquote zoo of critters that I caught. I kept them in little Tupperware containers and coffee cans. I had a huge toad. I named him Sanka. I kept him in a large Sanka coffee can, hence the name. I also had an alligator lizard who used to hiss at me and open his mouth. He really was not happy living in captivity, so I eventually let him go. But I had bugs, butterflies, caterpillars, grasshoppers, newts, salamanders. I don't remember which friend it was I used to go to the riverbed with. I think it was my friend Jackie, or it could have been Jennifer. Anyway, we would find the newts down there, and we would keep those, bring them home. I know my very best childhood friend, Lynn, and I used to catch ladybugs by the hundreds. And one day we were in my bedroom and I went to open the margarine tub that we kept them in, and the whole thing burst open like a bag of chips exploding. My room was filled with ladybugs. We were laughing so hard trying to catch them and put them back in the tub. I swear I found random ladybugs in my room for weeks after that. I had no idea how to take care of them. So of course they all died, and those that survived I set free. That was a big, big lesson for me. Really big. So I didn't keep critters anymore in my room. But I did find a fuzzy caterpillar on my front walkway, and I scooped him up and put him in a tub. But this time, I had learned enough to put leaves in with him and poke holes in the lid, and I kept him in the bushes by the front door. I actually forgot about him for a couple weeks. I'm telling you, I was like 9. I was a kid. But when I checked on him, I was panicked that I had killed him by not taking care of him. When I opened the tub, I was shocked to see a big brown cocoon. I put it in a clear jar and kept it in my bedroom so I could watch whatever was going to happen. I really had no idea of what it was or if it would hatch. Maybe it was just dead. I just didn't know. And then one day, the miracle happened. It hatched. I was so amazed. It was a huge zebra moth. I watched it as its wings dried and spread out to where I thought he could fly. I took him outside where I found him in his caterpillar form, and I let him loose. He flew to a tree in my backyard. I watched him for the longest time. I talked to him. I wished him luck because that's what I did. I talked to animals all the time, like they understood me. And as I was wishing him luck, he shocked me by flying right back to me and landing on my shoulder. I was stunned. I was very blessed, but stunned. He finally flew off of me, and I just sat there as the world of possibilities opened up to me. That may have been when it all started for me. The animals became my very special world. The amazing thing is that moth came back to me for 3 days in a row before he disappeared forever. A moth. Who would have thought such a small being would have the knowledge to show its appreciation to me? At least that's what I thought then. Now that I'm an adult and I'm more aware of the powers of the universe, maybe it wasn't the moth's thoughts or desires, but the universe. Maybe it was God acknowledging me and my actions to free the moth. It was a very empowering experience for me as a child. Makes you think. Well, that's my story for this time. I do have more stories that I will share with you. And I just want to remind you all again that every one of us has intuition. We all have it. And if you listen to it and let it guide you, it will open up your world, your inner and your outer world. And if you really start listening, you might start getting signs from the universe, from spirit. Listen to it. Open up your intuition and follow it. And if you want to learn more about how to do that, if you find yourself starting to awaken, I am a spiritual coach, and I would absolutely love to help guide you on your way. So if you are interested in working with me, then send me an email at infinitesoulreadings@gmail.com, or check out my website, infinitesoulreadings.com. And I am going to sign off now. I wish you all the very best, and thank you so much for listening to my story. Bye-bye for now.